Welcome to MindRewire. My name is Christy Mattoon. I'm super excited to be here with you. And today we are talking about subconscious stress and the chemicals that are associated with it, what subconscious stress can do inside your body, what it does to you, how it can affect your life, and what you can do to combat it. We're taking a look at all of these things right now. If you haven't yet, I want you to go ahead and click the bell to get reminders that there's new stuff coming up. And then also go ahead and make sure you subscribe to MindRewire, and please share these videos, pass them around so other people can watch this stuff too. When you have subconscious stress and you feel like you're self-sabotaging or you're finding yourself swimming in issues and symptoms that are going to cause lifelong diseases, we need to start knocking that stuff out to make this world a better place. So please share, like, subscribe, and welcome to MindRewire. All right, we're talking about the subconscious mind today and how the subconscious mind can play a huge role in your present life, even though it's stuff that seemingly happened in the past. And while it did actually on a timeline happened in the past, your brain in the subconscious actually remembers it as if it's a thing that's occurring right now, which is why it's affecting you right now. The chemical association is what gives you the feeling inside your body. So the feeling is actually what we label as an emotion. We put a word to it, so we have a way to talk about it and describe it. But those emotions, those feelings, that chemical that's inside your body all relate to something that happened in your past. When that thing isn't addressed or taken care of over the scope of a lifetime, those chemicals reappearing over and over inside of your body, or as in my case, the way I kind of thought of it, in my own life, it was like a slow drip. It was like I had an IV in my arm of constant cortisol and adrenaline that just kept coming back in and coming back in over and over. And it was as if I was being attacked by my own past and by my own system. And until I was able to fully and functionally address those things and understand this, it doesn't mean remembering. It doesn't mean reliving. It doesn't mean going back through necessarily. I don't remember my past. I don't know anything, and I'm guessing from about 13 and down, as far as different aspects of my past. I don't remember any of it, but I cleared the subconscious stress of it just by recognizing the feeling and coming to understand that the feeling I was having wasn't a feeling of the present moment. When you can figure that part out, we can start to deregulate and desynchronize that inside your system, desynchronize those feelings and that emotional energy that's keeping you in turmoil or having you self-sabotage or, throwing you down roads and paths and cycles and patterns that you are just tired of being in. So we can start to take care of all of those things. In your system, your subconscious mind represents that part of your mind that pretty much stores everything. Right? We actually want our subconscious mind, but we want it to operate on a level of body function. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to regulate all of our body functions, our hormones, our heartbeat, our breath, right? The chemicals that our body produces. It's supposed to just keep track of all the stuff that our body does without us ever having to think about it. Even the reminder that something is hot, that you don't want to reach your hand into a fire, right? That's actually a good thing to have in the subconscious mind. The stuff that we don't want is somebody yelling at you, telling you how stupid you are, or telling you that you're ugly, or giving you that feeling that you never do anything right. Right? Maybe it was a huge trauma that happened. Maybe it was a big car accident, and every time you get jolted, your body goes right into point of impact, and you feel the pain inside your system, but you can never figure out why are you feeling that way, or why is your body getting contorted into a shape in the moment when nothing is going on around you. I've worked with clients like this before that had a huge, horrible impact from a car accident, and every time they would get jolted or look a certain direction, all of a sudden their body would contort back into that position of impact. And figuring that piece out allowed their body to uncurl. We could actually get their eyes up in the direction, and all of a sudden there was no point of impact. They didn't get the subconscious stress from it, and they weren't walking around freaking out that every time they looked or moved a certain direction, their body was all of a sudden going to go back into the issue that it had. if you look at it from the scope of like a childhood kind of issue, where you might remember something that happened. I have a friend who fell down a set of stairs. She actually remembers falling down the stairs. She was walking, toddling around inside one of those little, I don't even know what they're called, those little baby toddler things on wheels, and it's got the seat in it and the big donut around it, right? And the kids kind of toddle around and can bump into stuff, but they're in a safe place. Well, somebody accidentally left the stairwell door open, and she got towards the stairwell door and was trapped inside the seat and then went tumbling down the stairs. Imagine that being locked in your memory, and I can only imagine from the aspect of an infant, I can't even imagine, right? The stress, the fear, how scary that had to have been, the pain. And you forecast that way down the road, and the issues and the things that have gone on in her life since then have been just magnitude by her body breaking down and not functioning properly over and over and over again. And it seems to me that she sees this reoccurring cycle actually in things that she sees around her. Her environment has become basically that fall down the stairs, which is really crazy and interesting. So in order to stop that, we have to address that part of your body that's getting the feeling. The feeling, remember, is about the emotions. The emotion is the label. What are you labeling? What are you feeling? And what are you calling it? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it frustration? Is it fear? Is it dread? Is it doubt? Is it confusion? What is your home, right? What is your home of emotions? What is that? If you can identify that and then find the feeling inside your body, we can begin to address it without even really knowing what happened. We can come at it from that angle. If you know what happened, it gets way easier to address it, right? All of a sudden we've got an actual memory we can go after. But you don't have to relive it in order to take care of it, in order to desynchronize it and dysregulate it in your system. But in order to come to it, you have to first of all decide. It's basically about a decision. This is that part of your soul that's your free will choice. You have the decision and the right to choose what you want to do for yourself. Your subconscious mind is that part of your body that stores information. And it also stores information of your past. And if it's locked in from a standpoint of fight and flight, and the subconscious stress, you actually have way more control over that than you may realize. And we can actually go in and get rid of that. Sometimes it takes help. Sometimes a person can get at it by themselves pretty effectively. So subconscious stress over the course of a lifetime can start to turn into things like body function problems. You can run into joint issues. You can run into all kinds of problems in your system that relate back to organs, that relate to inflammation, to the gut, to the heart, to the brain. All of these different things inside your system, if they're dysregulated and they're not in alignment, will cause your life to totally derail, and you'll feel like you're falling flat in every area. And that's not what you want for your life. So it's really important to become aware of what's going on in your life, be able to call it out and name it, right, wherever the subconscious stress is coming from. And if you need help, find somebody like me who works with subconscious issues, who works with being able to change the subconscious brain and even the information in your cells, and get that taken care of, because that's not how you want to live. And unfortunately, it's not something I can teach in a 12-minute session, so I'm not even going to try. But if you need help, I'm more than willing to help you do it. What we're going to do, so what our exercise is going to be basically decluttering the storage locker. A way where you can kind of reach in and start to pull things out and move it away from the emotional value that it's set up with. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about the thing that happened, it's about the emotions that you got left with. And whatever the emotions are that are showing up that you got left with, that's what's causing your problems in the present moment. And I want you to think of it like a garage. You've just now bought a new house and it's got this big, beautiful, empty 2-car garage. You can get both of your cars in there, so you're super excited about it. And then as you're unpacking and moving stuff around, you've got a few extra boxes and you stick them back in the corner of that garage. And there they sit. And then you get a couple more things and you just stick them back there. And now we've got a little pile. And over time, that pile turns into a row, and that row turns into a couple rows. And then you've got a big stack. And a couple years later, all of a sudden, you can't even get your car in that side of the garage anymore. And then that's piled all the way out to the door, and you just kind of look at it. But you can still get your car in on the other side, so you're not too worried about it. And then over the course of the next 5 or 10 years, all of a sudden, that other side starts filling up too. Do you even remember what was in that first box that you stuck back there in that first corner? Probably have no idea. And if you opened it, you'd probably be shocked that you even saved it. You would probably be looking at that stuff going, why on earth did I keep any of this stuff? So it's basically about emptying out that garage, moving all that stuff out, sift through it if you want to. If you don't, just get rid of it. Put it away, right? Same thing with your brain. What do you have stored in your brain that you keep holding on to, and how can you effectively get rid of it? It's what I do with MindRewire. It's what hypnosis does. It's how we work with the brain in such a way that it allows it to almost pull the emotional triggers off of the issue itself, so that you don't have to keep going through the emotional problem and the emotional turmoil of the issue. So I want you to feel this inside your system. In the last video, we did that little exercise of think of something that you like. Think of something that you don't like, and you could feel the difference between the two. What that equates to in your system is the rise and fall of the chemicals in your body. On your like, when you're thinking of something you like, you're accessing a memory inside your brain that triggers the chemicals that feel good. Those chemicals that feel good are labeled with happiness, joy, peace, right? Sometimes excitement. Those are the chemicals of dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. When you think of something you don't like, those are the emotions or the feelings that are labeled with things like fear, anxiety, right? Maybe anger, sadness. And those are the chemicals associated with cortisol and adrenaline. So I want you to think through your system real fast and just find an issue that makes you feel yucky. Find something in your system that you don't like, that you're tired of dealing with. Once you've got it, I want you to kind of pull the feeling from the memory, feel the feeling. You don't have to sort through the memory, you don't have to go through it. Find the feeling to it, feel that feeling. Once you've got it, I want you to keep that feeling inside your brain, right? So you're feeling it from that memory. And then in your heart, I want you to pull up a good feeling. Find a feeling that feels good. So we're going to have two different brains in your system operating in two different ways. And you can't do both at once, which is the interesting part. So if you've got something you don't like going on, and in your heart you start thinking about something good and pulling those chemicals up. So it's that chemical translation that we talked about with conversational intelligence. Now you're going to bring oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin into your system. You find that higher level feeling, allow it to grow bigger and bigger, and just allow that chemical feeling to saturate the inside of your brain and anything and anywhere that negative feeling touched. And just hang out there as long as you can. Keep trying to pull it up and pull it up and pull it up. If you can't get there, I want you to just cross your arms and your legs. This is called a whole brain state. And when you put your body in a whole brain state, your brain has to do it differently. So you've got that negative thing that you thought about. You've got that good feeling that you're pulling up in your system. And now you're going to put it in a whole brain state. Just cross your arms, cross your legs, and sit there and keep pulling up that good feeling. And I just want you to do this for about 2 minutes. Notice how your body feels. You might actually go through a range of emotions. You might get super sad and feel like you want to cry, or you might feel the anger welling up, whatever it is you're working on. But try and hang in there through it and try and keep pulling up that higher level of emotions. Within that 2 minutes, you're probably going to start feeling like, oh, wow. Because all of a sudden that higher level of emotions is just going to be saturating you. And that's going to be what you're feeling. So I want you to stay in that higher level of emotions as long as you possibly can. And then come back later on and think about that thing again that you didn't like, that thing that's been upsetting you and bugging you. Depending on how deep it's seated, you might have to do this more than once. If you work with me, I'll show you a way to target it a little bit more specifically, and we can yank it out of there even quicker. But this is a good way to start to sort out the garage. Anything that comes up, when you become aware of it, get it in your system, look at it for a second, know what it feels like, and then pull up a higher level feeling. And then cross your arms and your legs for 2 minutes. And then hang in there. If you can't get it, make sure you let me know. MindRewire.com, you can actually grab a free 30-minute session where I can talk to you about what I do to help resolve people's subconscious stress and issues of the past and emotions that are trapped inside your body on a cellular level, and how we can effectively and easily get rid of those. All right, and this is kind of where it starts. Come back for the next video. This is part 3. Part 4 is going to be about the subconscious mind and autoimmune disease, and how they're correlated, how they work together, and how even though you're doing everything right, you may have got your diet right, your exercise program right, you've got all this stuff going in the right direction, but something still isn't doing what it's supposed to do. You're still having symptoms, there's some level of weirdness going on that nobody's figuring out. My guess is it's probably stuck in your subconscious mind somewhere. So come back tomorrow for part 4. And then part 5, we're actually going to connect your heart to your brain, to your gut. We're going to connect the 3 brains so you can feel that in action. And that actually is another way to clear subconscious stress. I can't wait to see you. Thank you for being here. If you haven't done it yet, share these videos. Subscribe to MindRewire here on YouTube. And go ahead and hit that bell for reminders about upcoming videos. Thank you again.